Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Indocount Industries Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. K.K. Lalpuria, Executive Director and CEO of Indocount Industries Limited. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Lalpuria.
Thank you. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you to Indocount Industries Q2 and H1 FY22 earnings call. I hope you and your family are keeping safe and healthy. I have with me Mr. Muralidharan, our CFO, and Strategic Growth Advisors, our Investor Relation Advisors. Happy to connect with you all once again to discuss the Q2 and H1 FY22 performance. Let me first explain the industry and business scenario in Q2 and H1 FY22 and way forward. We continue to see momentum in our large markets, especially USA. This momentum is across big box retailers, omni-channel distribution platforms, and is on back of lot of structural and sustainable changes in the marketplace witnessed over the last 18 months. The normalcy in economic activity on back of increased vaccination around the world is also increasing the confidence of retailers and the entire supply chain. What is making India gain from this is our inherent strength in being a cotton textile manufacturer with technical skills to deliver innovative products. The China Plus One theme is further accentuating this growth, and we now believe that the government of India's efforts on various treaty and FTA agreements will help us further to move ahead and be a reliable and credible supplier to the global textile market in the world. I must mention the government's clear thrust is not only to support the textile sector but also see its exponential growth. The government has targeted to increase textile exports 3 times from present export value of $33 billion to $100 billion of textile exports over the next few years. Clearly, the government is all set to take advantage of a global market shift where China is pruning its market share. Indian home textile industry has been witnessing positive trends due to the homebody economy. The increased demand towards health, hygiene and wellness product is also seen in the marketplace. We believe India will continue to benefit from its position as the world's largest producer of raw cotton and a net exporter. This is also visible in OTEXA and other statistical data where India's share in US as compared to China has improved. Talking about the industry challenges over the past few months, the industry has been witnessing headwinds related to increase in overall input cost, rising freight cost, unavailability of shipping containers, and longer transit duration, thereby increasing the load on the working capital requirement. With humble pride, I am happy to announce that we have been able to navigate through these challenges and deliver our highest ever half-yearly revenue and EBITDA. We are confident to achieve revenue of rupees 3,200 crore plus for the year and sustain EBITDA margins 18 to 20%. Having entered the largest subsegment of fashion utility institutional bedding in 2016, we have continued to make all-round efforts in terms of innovation, service, delivery, and capacity to grow our brand equity in this segment. Our performance continues to remain on track for fashion utility institutional side of this business. We are making a lot of efforts on digital marketing, e-commerce, developing health and hygiene products, and other innovative ways to reach out to our customers and thereby strengthening our relationship with them. We continue to remain laser focused on increasing our share in the e-commerce and branded business both locally and globally. On our domestic brand, Boutique Living and aspirational brand, and Layers, our value-driven brand, are being very well accepted in the marketplace. Our focus to capture a larger pie in the growing Indian textile market looks very promising. We are focusing on brand promotion in the US, UK, Middle East, and India through 10 active brands. We believe with innovation and technological capabilities, along with licensed brands, patents, trademarks, this will further strengthen our brand offerings to our customers. Now a few updates from my side. The additional brownfield capacity of 18 million meters is on track, and the same will operationalize by Q4 FY22. This will increase our total capacity to 108 million meters. I am happy to inform that during the quarter, Indocount has been awarded with the prestigious Mahatma Award 2021 for doing excellent work in CSR. We are focused on creating a strong springboard for our long-term strategic priorities. Our order book continues to remain healthy, and we continue to remain optimistic. With our performance and capacity in place, both as a country and company, we should achieve new milestones in the years to come. Before I move to financial performance, I would like to sum up by saying that our strategy revolves around being customer-centric in our approach, which allows us to create innovative products, move up the value chain with our customers, thereby gaining market share. This is also an outcome of the past many years' efforts on improving the business mix and moving up the value chain to higher size segments as well as product innovative-led segments. Furthermore, it is heartening to see that our customers' continued belief in our capabilities, which makes us confident of sustained growth in times to come. Now let me share with you our financial performance. Total income rupees 767 crores in Q2 FY22 versus rupees 724 crores in Q2 FY21, a growth of 6% on a YOY basis. Total income rupees 1476 crores in H1 FY22 versus rupees 1060 crores in H1 FY21, a growth of 39% on a YOY basis. Kindly note, H1 FY22 total income excludes ROSCTL benefits of rupees 49.99 crores for the period of January 1, 2021 to March 31, 2021. EBITDA of rupees 139 crores in Q2 FY22 versus rupees 127 crores in Q2 FY21, a growth of 10% on a YOY basis. EBITDA margin stood at 18.2% in Q2 FY22 versus 17.5% in Q2 FY21, an increase of 64 bps on a YOY basis. For H1 FY22, EBITDA of rupees 267 crores versus rupees 166 crores in H1 FY21, a growth of 61% on YOY basis. H1 FY21 EBITDA margin stood at 18.1% in Q2 FY22 versus 15.6% in H1 FY21, an increase of 245 basis points on a YOY basis. Kindly note, H1 FY22 EBITDA margin excludes ROSCTL benefits of rupees 49.99 crores for the period of January 1, 2021 to March 31, 2021. Now PAT. Rupees 85 crores in Q2 FY22 versus rupees 81 crores in Q2 FY21. PAT margin at 11.1% in Q2 FY22 versus 11.2% for Q2 FY21. Rupees 202 crores in H1 FY22 versus rupees 99 crores in H1 FY21, a growth of 105% on a YOY basis. PAT margin at 13.7% in H1 FY22 versus 9.3% for H1 FY21. Now this is from my side, and I open for the question and answers.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Mihir Shah from Momentum Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, congratulations, sir, on the very good performance. It's good to see the revenue guidance of about 3,200 crores plus and margin guidance of about 18 to 20%. Sir, I understand that we must have passed on some increase in input prices to the consumers. I just wanted to understand how much of these price increases have already been passed on in the first half of this year, and going ahead, how much further price increases we can expect it will be passed on.
See, the realization overall has increased on account of it's a combination between the product mix as well as the price increase which we have received from the customer. So we are still engaged with our customers, and we see that there will be more price increase which we will receive from them in the next 2 quarters and ahead of that. So definitely we do not have a fixed number for that, but yes, we have received price increase from our customers.
Got it. So in the second half, we can expect some more increase in prices to be passed on.
Yes, we are engaged, with the customer on a continuous basis because the situation is volatile as we see on various inputs. So we are continuously engaged with the customer to see how we can, pass on our cost to them, higher cost to them.
Understood. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jiten Doshi from Enam AMC. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Larpulia, and first of all, many congratulations that despite a very difficult environment, the company has been able to demonstrate such a good margin. And also, I think your guidance reaffirms the growth trajectory for the company. But if I now just go to your guidance and look at the upper end of your guidance, this means that you are looking to deliver 50 million meters in the second half. And if you talk about 18 to 20% margin, and if I go to the upper end of your margin band, effectively you need to do about close to 21 to 21.5% margin to meet the upper end of the band guidance. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have given a revenue guidance already of 3,200 crores, and we have also given a volume guidance of 85 to 90 million meters. Of course, the challenges are there as we move ahead, but we have got a healthy order book position. We have got a very good customer base and a very strong product profile, wherein our customers are very much satisfied. We are investing into the supply chain side and product innovation continuously as a company, and we are quite optimistic and confident that we should be able to meet out our guidance going forward.
So, we are very enthused looking at your performance, and I think despite such a challenging environment, you have been able to report these kind of margins. If there are any drops in commodity prices, will that mean that margins can expand in the future?
Yeah, definitely. This is a evolving situation in our business and its customization. So we definitely need to work upon jointly with a business plan with our customer. So in this evolving situation, of course, we always vie to see that how our margin growth is there through better end products and how we can sell. But at the end of the day, the consumer pays the price and the market share decides upon the prices at a later stage. So I think we are also positive on this front. As we move ahead, we see that if supply chain issues and other issues are settled, India is, as a country and we as a company, are very well positioned in the marketplace, and we feel that we should be able to get a better margin profile going forward, as we are focusing also on various other strategies of B2C, D2C, e-commerce, and the domestic brand outlay, etc. So our entire focus is on to see how we can add value going forward, as we need to absorb the cost also. So we are quite confident on this front.
Sure. But Mr. Lalpuria, you mentioned that the Commerce Minister has set out a target to go from 33 billion to 100 billion in the exports in the next couple of years. And I am sure that, your target is to do better than industry and better than what the ministers have said. So I think that, you will be looking at a capacity requirement of minimum 250 million meters. So this 108 is like a trailer. When will we see the main movie? Because we believe that you will run out of capacity in the next 1 year itself, the way the demand is going. So would you be looking at a greenfield? Are you exploring any further capacity expansion through a greenfield project in a new location? Or?
See, as a company, we have various plans and strategies, and as we move ahead, like if you observe that when we started with 36 million meters and today we have grown to 108 million meters in the last 1 decade. So as a company, we have grown this business continuously with a good CAGR, and we hope that we will continue. And with, as I mentioned, like India being positioned strongly as a textile hub with adequate raw material, traditional labor force, and a competitiveness and a performance which it has proved in the near past, we feel quite confident that the government is right on deciding about, and projecting a turnover of $100 billion in the global textile market. Just to tell you that the total global textile market is 840 billion. Even a 1% shift is 8.4 billion. And today China is 34% and India is just at 4%. So that's the gap which we need, which looks promising to fill in. So I think we have a great journey ahead as a company. We are fundamentally very well established as a key player in the home textile area. We are recognized globally in 54 countries, and we are making all efforts to see that how we can grow our business going forward and scale to new capacities and milestones.
But Mr. Lalpuria, what was very pleasing was, despite the shortfall of about 10% in your volumes for exports, which were on high seas, you have reported this margin, which means you have booked all the cost in the elements. Cost element has already come in the result, and you have not realized the value of the sale. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct. Because we have shipped the goods, it is on transit.
Right.
And as we all know that the ships do not get berth, and that's why we are unable to, book the sale.
Oh, so you mean if this was already shipped, your results would have been far better?
Yes, to a certain extent.
Okay, wonderful. Wishing you all the very best, and wishing you a very happy Diwali, and all the very best, and keep continuing to make this progress. And please do think on a greenfield capacity of at least another 100 million, the way your company is going. Thank you.
Of course, we'll take your advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And wish you happy Diwali as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Cheda from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. Sir, I had a question on our realization. So if you look at it like there has been increase, a lot of cost has been going up, yarn prices going up. So is there a scope for our realization to move up from here?
So as I mentioned, the realization is a combination of various factors. And as a company, we have been focusing on value addition and various other strategies to increase our footprint on the fashion bedding, domestic retail, domestic brand outlay, etc. So we as a company are quite innovative into presenting the market new products where we get a better acknowledgement on the price level, and we play out on the mid to high level as well as the premium level. We have patented product and our brand outlay is very well accepted now among the retailers. So the margin increase is combination of all these various strategies within the last 3-4 years, as well as you see we are scaling up our distribution channels to e-commerce, to other omni channels to see how we can service the customer very well. So I think overall the margin, as I mentioned earlier, is a combination of the product mix and focus on the value addition as well as servicing to the customer to our level best.
My worry is from the perspective like global retailers themselves are facing a lot of margin pressure, and like if you look at this Bed Bath and Beyond, they have revised their guidance lower on because of higher input costs. So wouldn't they be telling us to curtail our margins or something? Is there some pressure on that from the major retailers front for us?
So see, the challenges are there, of course, as you rightly said, on the raw material side, on the logistics side. But we as a company are trying to navigate through it, and we are successful in our in presenting to our customer newness to the product so that they can acknowledge it and have a better pricing in their marketplace. And as what you said about Bed Bath and Beyond, I think they are doing fairly well. They have the same stores sale increase. They have launched various brands. They have done repositioning of themselves in the marketplace, and they are a strong retailer. They have good cash on the books, and I think so. As a company, they have done pretty well. It's always like 1 or 2 quarters you cannot evaluate a retailer like Bed Bath and Beyond, who is a specialty retailer, and as we market is moving on the health, hygiene, wellness segment also, the company is taking strides to see how they can increase their footprint into this particular product category. So I think as we move forward, of course, the challenges are there, and we will keep you updated from time to time. But as a company, we see that we like to face them when it comes, and we'll tide it over.
Sir, my point is like our realization is close to 375 rupees now, and it has gone up significantly from last few quarters. So is this sustainable, and any further cost we'll be able to pass it on in the current scenario? That is what I wanted to understand, sir, because all these questions are related to that. So would we be able to pass any further price input cost hike, because we are already at a good realization level?
No, of course, as I mentioned, we are engaged with the customer. They know that the cotton commodity worldwide has moved up, and everybody is facing issues on the cost side, on the various inputs, whether it is paper or packaging or dyes chemical or cotton. But yes, we are engaged with our customers, and we are confident that we will be able to convince them over the price rise as well as to move ahead on our guidance as what we have provided to sustain it at 18 to 20%.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Thanks for answering the questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kapil Jagasia from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Congratulations on steady set of numbers. So my first question is, your realization per meter has gone up by around 25% odd on a YY basis. So, what would be the breakup of some price hikes done or product mix improvement? Because I just wanted to know, fashion bedding, institutional and all these beddings would be contributing how much to the revenues now?
So as we had reported that this three segments wherein we are focusing upon is almost 16%, and now annually we will provide you the number, but it is inching up on the increased revenue. This business is also increasing for us, and where we are able to derive value. And as I mentioned earlier, the combination of the product mix, because whenever you have additional cost, you try to absorb in the product cost, and you try to sell a better product to the customer and the marketplace. So with the help of various tools like branding, distribution, and increasing our service level, we have been able to come around with the customer to see that we get a proper price increase, as well as we move up the value chain, and by providing additional service levels, we can increase our realization and maximize it. So that's where the whole focus is. So as I mentioned, it's a combination of various factors, which is helping us, derive this additional revenue, additional margin.
Right. And sir, you have been providing guidance on volume and also revenue this quarter. So, it would be really helpful, if you can guide us through your operating margins for this particular and also, for FY23 if possible, what margin should be built in?
So we have already given we have continued with our guidance, of 85 to 90 million meters, and the margin guidance also we have provided that we will be able to sustain, 18 to 20%.
Okay, so for this particular and also for next year, we'll be able to maintain that. Okay. And so just last question from my side, would like to know your thoughts on the PLI and textile parks schemes announced by the government. How much these announcements can help the textile industry growth. Just, your thoughts on it.
See, the whole objective of the government, as I mentioned, is focus on the textile sector and to see how they can grab this opportunity of, having much better market share in the overall global textile trade. And as I mentioned, that the overall global textile trade is also moving at 3%. So if it is 840 billion, and even as I mentioned, China is having 34% of this as a market share, and India is just having 4%, there is a whole lot of big gap between these two capture. And the government sees a big opportunity there because India as a country is well positioned with raw material, and it's traditionally a very good textile hub and producer. So I think the focus of the government in this PLI scheme is to recognize, in MMF sector and technical textile, how they can scale up their presence in the world global textile trade. And through the textile park, it is offering, a plug and play atmosphere wherein, a lot of MSME and other exporters can take advantage and participate in the overall textile growth and in our economy. So I think these are positive steps from the government side to see that how the overall textile trade can be held, to see that there is development and growth across all fiber categories, whether it is MMF or technical textile or cotton textile, etc. So I think this is a positive step by the government.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for answering all the questions, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sejal Gupta from FE Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good afternoon, Lalpuri, and congratulations for posting such a great performance in such difficult times. Really appreciate your team efforts and very commendable. Lalpuri, my question to you is that I'll be reiterating most of the questions which have been asked by the learned people. So one of the questions is, how do you see the demand outlook for the next 3 to 4 years in the business?
See, home has become the center stage, as we all know, because of the culture which has developed where work from home and, the homebody economy, as we all mentioned, has come to the center stage of our life and lifestyle. And the home textile consumption has grown across the board. And we see the momentum continuing in the next 3 to 4 years. As people are spending more time at home, they have realized that they should upgrade their homes for a better living. And that's the way of life going forward. So we feel that this momentum will continue. And since, India is well positioned in the textile hub, it should gain the maximum, because there is a China plus one strategy, as we all mention about, that the brands and retailers do not want to focus on a single geography and would like to, de-risk their supply chain. So I think going forward, the momentum will continue. We will see uptick in demand from India, as India is well positioned. So as I mentioned earlier, we as a company and as a country also, we will achieve new milestone in this textile segment.
Okay. Tell me one thing, the government is signing the FTAs right now. And there was a question that was asked by one of the gentlemen that when do you see that increasing your capacities to 250 million? So don't you see that, now let me put it this way, when can we see that the company achieving 180 million meters sales? By which year can you see yourself achieving that number?
See, as I mentioned earlier, we started with 36 million initially. Today we are at 108 million. So as a company, we have continuously grown. We have a steady growth, of almost 15% CAGR. So that's how we look at it. We cannot see that on the increased number. Sometimes we look upon different opportunities to see that how we can grow exponentially rather than incremental. So which will come, because you see, India also is positioning itself to grow from 33 billion currently to 100 billion. So we'll also share the pie, and definitely we keep aspiration of coming to that 180 million numbers which everybody is asking. But definitely as a company we do aspire with that, and we have got all means and we are well positioned as a home textile manufacturer. We are in this textile trade for the last 3 decades, and we started with raw material like spinning. So we have the experience, we have the expertise, we have the recognition, we have the performance, and we have the competitiveness. So I think we can achieve those numbers, going forward.
I agree. My only reason for asking for that 180 million was only because, like, the FTAs once get signed with different countries, which the government is talking of 4 to 5 countries coming in next 6-7 months. So that will open up a new area for you, new countries for you to start exporting. So
Absolutely.
So you would need your capacity expansion much before you really hit those numbers. So this 180 should be a very sooner than later.
The board do recognize this fact that as a company, we are a growing company, and they do recognize the fact that we need larger capacities, and we have been working upon various options, and this greenfield investment is one of the options. So that at proper time, the board will take appropriate decision to see that we service our customers with all our capabilities and capacities. We have the desired funds within the company to invest in our growth, and we are quite confident that whenever we are asked for this incremental and exponential growth, the company will put its best foot forward to increase the capacity to this level. Why not?
Okay, so that's all from my side, and thank you very much, and I wish all the best to all the management and the company for achieving the new heights. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hasmukh Gala from Finvest Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me? Haji. Yeah. I think your result came as a fresh bout of surprise, not a surprise really, but a pleasant surprise. However, the market does not seem to have appreciated the real story behind our growth, profitability, etc. So I just wanted to know just some numerical information if you can provide. We had 73 crore of other income in first half. So can you give broad breakup of what does it comprise of?
See, the other income is part of our business income, as we have always been saying, because you see the forex gain which we get on our hedging.
Broad breakup about 2-3 headings.
So the major is like around 57.5 crores is our forex income, and the rest is our interest income.
Okay. And sir, how much of export incentives have we accrued?
See, that is around, as I mentioned earlier, we are able to realize only around 7.5% to 8% in the overall revenues. And it varies, and because you see, whenever you ship like different product categories, the rates are different. Say, for example, pillows, there is a different lower rate, like 5%. On fabric, it is 4%. On certain other product categories, it is lower. And when we sell this scrip also, we realize 92% of the value. So if you consider the overall, this should range anywhere between 7.5% to 8%.
Okay. And sir, another thing I have noticed in result that our other expenses has increased substantially. So is there any particular reason?
So I think if you look at on a YOY basis, it is on similar lines. If you see the overall increase, it might be due to some logistics and freight cost. Other than that, I don't think so. There is a increase in the other expenses, because if you compare on a YOY basis, you will see that it is more or less the same.
Yeah, but in terms of percentage to sale, it has increased from 27 to 29%. So I was just wondering, can there be any one-off item?
See, the logistic cost, as I mentioned,
Yeah.
So that is impacting, the overall other expenses. Otherwise, I think we are fine.
Okay. And sir, last question. You said about you have got a good pending order position. So can you just give us a color as to, how many months revenue visibility do we have?
The order book is always like we have 5 to 6 months, visibility on the business. And that's where it provides us the necessary boost to see that how we pan out our revenues going forward. And that's the reason it helped us providing you a guidance of 3,200 crores. So that's where we are coming from.
Correct. And sir, how much capex we will incur in H2, second half?
The overall capex will be completed by Q4 FY22, which is around 100 crores.
How much? 100 or 200?
200 crores. There might be some escalation due to the cost input increase, but we are on track. And as we speak, there is a work in progress on this capex, and we should be able to give you better guidance, and numbers in our third quarter, where we stand on the overall capex situation.
Okay. The capex in the first half has been only 40 crores, 40. So I was just wondering that whether we will be spending remaining entire 160 crores in the second half.
So around 60 crores we have already, spent, and the rest, is in pipeline.
Okay. These may not be getting reflected in the value of gross fixed assets or capital work in progress. Might be lying in the advance issue creditors.
Yes.
Okay. So I will not repeat all the questions which have already been asked. I wish you all the best and happy Diwali to all at Indocount, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bala Saab. Happy Diwali to you as well.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vikram Vilas Suryavanshi from PhillipCapital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you have talked about the supply chain issues, but just to make it slightly more clear, how much increase is there in lead time compared to earlier and now? And in terms of cost also, if you can give some sense about how much impact it is in their cost in terms of product cost or whatever number you can share, and impact on the inventory level or working capital, and how long it can continue this impact on a company. And as a country, are we seeing any impact between the China and India because of supply chain issues where Chinese players could maybe at advantageous stage or in supply chain or something? If you can give your highlight, I think that would be helpful, sir.
So, as I mentioned, earlier, the supply chain issues still continue, and the cost factors are also evolving around it. Like with some vendors we have a contract, with some we do not have. There are various issues like not getting the containers, or the containers taking longer duration, or we miss out on the frequency of the ships. So there are various factors impacting. So we cannot just calculate on a particular cost center that this is the impact. Yes, of course, we all know that the input cost across the board, like whether it is cotton or yarn or gray fabric or dyes chemical or packing material, or even to some extent apart from the logistic and freight cost, various other charges have gone up quite substantially. So it's a evolving situation. What you can see from our Q2 presentation is that almost 4% our gross margin has been impacted when you compare on a Q1 basis for FY22. So that you may summarize as the impact so far. Going forward, as we mentioned, that we are trying to navigate this with a better product mix, with engaging with the customer to see that how we can pass on and get the price rise, and various other measures to see how we can make a better product and sell in a better market with a better price realization. So our entire focus into how we can take these challenges, and as a company, how we can adapt to these challenges and move forward. Now, what you mentioned about China, yes, of course, China is having a major market share, but the cost in China has moved up. We also observe about the issue regarding Xinjiang area, where the cotton coming from this area is banned, and the China Plus One strategy in the minds of the brands and retailers to shift their sourcing from other Asian countries. And since India is well positioned as a textile raw material producer and has been a good supplier in the past, and it's not just a labor arbitrage like Vietnam and Bangladesh, I think we as a country stand to gain much of the market share which, due to competitiveness, which China may lose. Yes, they are also trying to face similar challenges over there. So I think if it gets resolved with them, it will get resolved for us as well in time to come. So we all hope that, with this, time passing by, there are various news that this supply chain issue will continue for some time, but at some point of time they need to diminish. So with that hope, I think we will keep navigating through these challenges, and we will always try to see how we can maximize on our revenues, our margin, and our volumes going forward.
Okay, got it. And when we get order from USA, our responsibility to deliver good is still Indian ports, or for majority of customer we need to deliver it to their warehouse in USA. So to what extent we look at supply chain on our own, and what customers look at?
See, almost 70% of what we sell is on FOB basis. So only 30% is on CIF and CNFC basis. So that we need to manage ourselves. But yes, since we are together in this problem with the customer, we have to see how we accommodate to complete our joint business plan, and to see how we help them protect their market share and how we protect our market share going forward. So it is both way, two ways planning of the business, which we are all doing. And I can tell you that the customer is also putting a best foot forward to see how they can tide over this problem, because this is quite unprecedented, situation in which we are. So it is a one-off situation which we all have to face, and let's all hope that this will subsidize in the future. So this is what the situation is.
Okay. And last question, just to earlier, how many days normally is taking for products to reach to US, and how much currently is taking time compared to earlier normal time?
See, normally the shipping frequency to the US port, East Coast, was around, say, 20 days, and for clearance, etc., and for reaching to the customer warehouse for another 5 to 7 days. So it used to take 25 days almost to reach the customer's distribution center or the warehouse. But in today's situation, it is taking more than 45 to 60 days, So this is what is alarming, and that's the reason, the goods which we have shipped, haven't reached, which we have shipped some of the goods in the month of even August, So that's where the timeline is.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, sir. That was really helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kirti Dalvi from Enam AMC. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations on good operating performance. So a couple of questions from my side. First, if I see your first half performance in terms of volumes and realization, our realizations have improved in dollar terms as well. So despite currency has been depreciated on the first half basis if one compares, still our realization on dollar and rupee has improved. So when you're guiding for say 90 million meters with that kind of realization, so 3,200 crore revenues seems to be quite a lower number for me to assume, even say, in the second half also quite lower realization. Say you have done roughly around say 400 rupees per meter kind of realization. Even if one considers 10% discount to that, still you'll be able to cross 3,200 easily, assuming 90 million meters. So just wanted to understand, am I missing something in this?
Well, see, we have given the guidance despite all these challenges, So there are still a lot of uncertainties around in the supply chain, in the input cost and various other factors impacting the businesses. But looking at the order book position and our, business currently, what we have in hand, we have given a guidance. Of course, there is always an aspiration to, do much better and increase that target, by almost 5-10%, going forward. So let's all hope. We have hedged our position very well and with a good policy in place, and we are quite hopeful to better it, this as you mentioned.
Sure, because I think even if one assumes some product mix changes, ideally the realization should sustain around say whatever you have done it roughly around $5, per meter in dollar realization also, because in sequentially also your realization has improved despite currency being where it is. If one sees there is actually currency depreciation which has happened on a half yearly basis versus last year half year. So I have considered that impact also. So that's where my question was.
No, you are absolutely right in making a assessment like that, but we all need to see how the market pans out. Like you have a holiday season in front of you, so how the retailers, the sales are, how their pipeline, whether it is improved or not, what is the availability on the cotton front, because the cotton prices have gone up, how much absorption of prices in the marketplaces are, how you oversee the logistic challenges on the availability of containers. All those various factors are there. So we have given a guidance to the best of our knowledge as of now, and maybe in the third quarter we'll have a better visibility where we can update you further,
Sure. So second question on the raw material front, I do understand probably, we must be having the inventory compared to lower cost inventory compared to the current prices of the cotton, and probably this price hike will get reflected next year. So when we are guiding, say, 18 to 20% kind of sustainable margins, even for the, I'm assuming next year as well, our realizations will improve to a certain extent because we'll pass on some hike to our customers as well. So can one assume that even the current raw material scenario will be able to maintain these margins for FY23 as well? This band I'm talking about.
So we are trying. You see, we have already given a margin sustainable guidance of 18 to 20%, depending upon how much we have hedged on the raw material side, and we have already mentioned about the various challenges panning out there. So we'll be able to better give you a guidance in FY23 in our third quarter
Sure. So third question on the last question from my side, on the balance sheet, our gross debt has gone up. Is it basically for the inventory and the capex or any other reason for the same? And where do we see this?
Financing the business. You see, the growth is there, so we are financing the business.
Sure. So
that's why it has gone up.
Sure. Year end, do we see this debt sustaining then? 745 crore is the gross debt what we have today in our balance sheet. By year end, we'll see this debt maintaining at the same level, or do we see it further, going up, given the improvement in the volumes as well?
So we as a company have taken, conscious decision to, see that how we can service our customer by investing into our supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some seasonal products which we need to maintain a stock. So in order to see that how we meet out our commitments on the business order book position going forward, we need to create that sort of inventory to see that the customer also feels, confident that we will deliver in time to come. So all this, will get normalized once you see there are these challenges about the transit times and all this normalizes. We'll be back to normal businesses. And at that time, you can see our levels, which you have seen in the past 3-4 years, how we have been able to maintain our, working capital cycle. So I think these are times which are in isolation. You need to see how we can keep our heads high and meet our commitments on the supply chain side. And as a company, as I mentioned, we have been investing into this so that we can deliver to the customer what we have promised. So that's what you are seeing on the inventory side.
Sure. So last from my side, if you could give us just a number for the first half export incentives, because in the first quarter we had said that we did something like 90 odd crores. Out of that, 50 crores belong to the previous quarters, the previous period. So for the first half, how much would be that number? So must have received 37 crores roughly number in the Q1. So Q2, how much would have been our export incentives, or even say first half number will do?
So we can give you the number offline, but what I'm trying to say, I have already answered that question that, around 7.5% to 8% is the incentive, which we get, like, not as an incentive, but a drawback, the refund of the duties and taxes, this ROSCTL, RODTP, and the drawback which the government provides. So roughly it is around that number. We can give you offline that number.
Thank you, sir, and wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aman Sontalia from AK Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, we have entered into brand licensing. So whether this will give additional turnover and additional margin compared to our normal business?
Come again. What's your question, please?
We have taken the license of a brand, so whether this will give additional turnover and additional margin compared to our normal business?
Yes, that's why we take a brand.
So how much margin we can expect, extra margin compared to our normal margin?
See, in the branded segment with the normal product, you make around 10 to 15% additional margin on the branded product.
Okay, sir. And sir, as the world is opening up after this coronavirus, people are coming out of their home. So if there is a possibility that there may be a demand drop as people are coming out of home and work from home culture is getting down little bit?
In fact, you should look the other way. The demand would go up. As people will come up, they will shop more. It is an avenging economy everybody is talking about. So, you see, when you go out for some reasons, like you go to the mall or you go to a garden. So, different kinds of entertainment and leisure you experience. So, definitely there will be a movement of goods. And overall, what has happened, in last 18 to 24 months, people have recognized that they want to live better. And this is why it is called a home body experience. We have become all aware about health, hygiene and wellness. And we are embedding that into our lifestyle. And we have changed our lifestyle for better. So everybody wants to upgrade their homes, upgrade their wardrobes and spend in all home consumption product range. So I think coming out will also help the economy to move ahead. That's what is happening in India also, you see. So it will be similar over there. So I think this is positive actually.
Sir, one more question that the government, I've seen an interview of Mr. Piyush Goyal, and he was telling that India is going to sign FTA with UK and with some other countries, along with, I think, talk is going on with the European Union also. So how big, once this agreement got signed, how big this market is for home textile?
See, there are positive news about our negotiation going on with all these countries, and there are major countries involved here, like as you mentioned, UK, Australia, Canada, EU. So all these are important developed economies where the consumption of textile is high. And here we are not at level playing field. Just imagine like we are paying 17% duty in Canada. We are paying 9.6% duty in EU. We are paying 9.6% in UK. We are paying 5% in Australia. Now, if those import tariffs are removed, we will have better opportunity and level playing field against all the other competing countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh who enjoy duty-free access. So definitely this FTA will provide us a level playing opportunity, and we should be able to increase our market share there, because currently it is hovering around 4% because of this anomaly. And as we sign this FTA maybe in a year's time, because there are negotiations going on and it takes a little bit of longer duration time, I think this will be very, very positive to India and Indian textile players.
So one last question.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. May I please request you to rejoin the queue for your follow-up, as we have people waiting for their turn?
Okay.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, if you have a question, please press star, then 1 on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Rushabh Shah from RS Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi sir. Thank you for the opportunity. As I understand, last 1 year there are a lot of tailwinds enjoyed by the home textile exporters, and I assume that whatever capex the industry is doing will be absorbed the next 3-4 years, and it is more demand-driven capex rather than doing capex and then pushing for sales. So as in the US already we have a high textile, high market share, more than 50%. So how comfortable are the US retailers, absorbing the incremental capex and relying on India as a supplier, going forward? Or is this capex for more for other countries like UK, or if you could give some color on this, sir?
See, as I mentioned, the overall home textile consumption is growing in the market. Like just imagine in the US, the current home textile market is $28 billion at retail. So 14 billion at say cost. Okay. Now if that is increasing by 4%, so it is almost like more than 500-600 million a year across the home textile product. Now, with the large players already having a good positioning out there, somebody needs to meet these expectations of the brands and retailers when they are shifting from China. Now, China, just imagine, in fashion bedding and utility bedding and institutional bedding, even today has a market share of 75%. So why we as a country, when we have reached 60%, we cannot reach 75% or 80% there in this space? So we are expecting to go ahead with our plans in capex, which will be positive for all of us, both as a country and company. And I think once these FTAs are signed, the other markets also will open up where we have a decent presence. And just let me tell you that only 5 countries in the world are supplying 85% of textiles to the world. And these 5 countries are China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Vietnam. Now, Bangladesh and Vietnam do not have raw material. They are labor arbitrage. So the raw material is brought from other countries. Pakistan has got a limited supply of raw material, which is on the course of varieties in cotton and a limited space in MMF. So rest is China and India. Those are the 2 large players. Now, China has dominated earlier, but now it is losing that dominance. So who will stand to gain? India. So I think this justifies the capacity expansion by all the players. And definitely there is a large market, and what the government also expects us to move from 33 billion to 100 billion. And even the domestic market, which will be growing quite substantially from 120 billion to 250 billion in the 5 trillion economy, because textile plays an important role in our GDP. Almost 3% of GDP is textile. So I think with all these factors, this capacity expansion by all the players is justified, and we see big opportunities out there once these FTAs are signed and we are present in all the markets. So we have got reason to expand further.
So whatever capex is happening is mainly for the US market, sir.
So it is also for the domestic market.
Okay. And so how
domestic market also, you see, there are, in the home textile front, there are hardly any brands out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, correct, sir. Got it. And for this ROCTL benefit, how much do we share with the customers, or it is fully absorbed by the company?
Come again?
This ROCTL benefit, export incentives, how much is it shared with the customers, or is it fully absorbed by the company itself?
So the ROCTL is basically refund of state levies, taxes and duties, So it is we sell on our cost plus basis. And we do not consider, this as a benefit to us.
Okay. So that directly, benefits on the bottom line. Okay, understood, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Bhavesh Chheda from Enam Holding. Please go ahead.
Mr. Last question.
Yeah, Bhavin here, Mr. Lalpuria. Excellent set of numbers. So just on your guidance thing, since you have to deliver almost 50 million odd in the second half, because there were issues on the logistics, mainly shipping and all, so are that issues sorted out now and the monthly run rate improving dramatically, and you're confident of enough shipping booked out for 50 million for the second half?
See, we are confident that that's the reason we have given the guidance both on the volume and the revenue also. And since we have tied over this problem and we have navigated through the challenges in the near past, where it was at a higher intensity, it's improving slowly. So we all hope that it will improve further. So we should be able to fare much better.
Sure, sir. And second, I just missed out on your pending capex number, what it was for FY22, and if any plans for 23 also?
Look, yes, we as a company, always look for growth. And if need be, the board will decide about the capex plan on 23 as well. But currently, we will be spending 200 crores to, increase our capacity from 90 million to 108 million.
So this is second half will be spending 200, or this is total for the FY22?
No, as I mentioned, we have already spent 60 crores and the rest is in pipeline in work in progress. So by Q4 we will complete the capex.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And best of luck.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, we take that as the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference back to the management for closing comments.
Thank you to all. We at Indocount remain confident about the next level of growth. Our focus going forward continues towards increasing utilization level and increasing our revenue and market share. With this, I would like to thank everyone for joining on the call. I hope we have been able to address all your queries. For any further information, kindly get in touch with me or Strategic Growth Advisor, our investor relation advisor. We wish each and everyone a very happy festive season and a happy Diwali to all. Stay healthy, stay safe, and thank you very much once again.
Thank you. On behalf of Indocount Industries, we conclude today's conference. Thank you all for joining. You may now disconnect your lines.